All right. What's up, Blueprint family? How y'all doing out there? All right. So we got a exciting show for you all tonight. As usual, we're dropping jewels about relationships. And tonight is the stages of successful relationship progression.
Mm-hmm.
So, sure, every relationship is unique. It's different, and every successful relationship progresses through identifiable inherent stages of love and attachment.
Mm-hmm. Yep, scientifically proven, like throughout many studies, is that there are specific stages that all relationships grow through and hopefully make it through so that you can get to the end.
Right, the end.
Yeah.
Make it to the end, whatever
Or
that
to the
end is.
next beginning, right? Of the next life,
Right,
whatever,
but hopefully it's not divorce.
Yes,
We're not
yes.
talking about
Not
divorce
that
here.
it. That's the bad it.
Right. So, I guess we can go ahead and just dive right on in.
Yeah, yeah.
Number one, they get to know you stage.
That's an
Now,
easy one, yeah.
this stage should be within 1 to 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to take 6 months to actually know somebody or get to know them on the introductory level. That is, of course, you're not going to know everything about somebody in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless you make it your goal, your personal goal to get to know somebody for, get to know everything about somebody in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely will not know all the details, especially if you're not moved in yet.
Right.
This stage occurs when you first meet someone, of course. The focus is mostly on superficial attributes like
Mm-hmm.
appearance. Everyone is always the first thing is attraction, physical
Mm-hmm.
attraction, how well you like looking at your wife or your future wife or husband or
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend girlfriend, and how the well the person presents themselves. So this is the interview stage.
Yeah.
First impressions last a lifetime, don't they say that?
Yeah.
So this is that first impression lasting a lifetime moment.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a good one because sometimes all you get is one.
Yeah.
So if you are intentionally dating, open up about things that may be considered difficult to talk about within the first month. I think
Mm.
recently we gave you all some topics to talk about on dates and dating. Go back to that video. We gave you seven. No, it was really nine. It was really like
Yeah,
nine
we
good
added on.
topics
Yeah, yeah.
that were real good as far as digging deep down, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that the person who you're dating is intentionally dating you until marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to,
Or interested at least
right,
because it's the initial early stage.
right,
Yeah.
right, or interested in marrying you. So go ahead and if you need to go back and watch that video, those 7 dating tips,
Mm-hmm.
which were actually 9. So we gave you 2 bonus questions to
Yeah.
throw in there during the date.
Yeah, yeah, because it's really important during this time to be honest, open, authentic, kind of on what you are generally looking for. Sometimes, like my husband said, it can be kind of hard to open up, but if you can within the first month, like at least lay out like this is kind of my vision, my goals, this is kind of how I see my life, and let's see if this is even worth exploring a little bit more. Cause yeah,
Right, most definitely.
don't waste too much time.
And also in the get to know you stage, each interaction should be new things that you
Yeah.
learn about each other.
Hmm.
So, like I said, dig deep into the interests, values, visions for life. You need to ask those tough questions that we
Hmm.
gave you all, you know, um,
Yeah.
and don't waste time. So if you
Yeah.
notice if you all don't really align on certain things, then you
Mhm.
may need to go ahead and move on and find someone else to date and occupy your time.
Yeah, I like that you said that every interaction should bring up something new. So if you're dating every time, make it a goal to learn something new about this person and have something that you can walk away with that you say, huh, I like this about this person. You want to I really make sure you end all interactions that way because that will really help build and deepen that bond where you're excited to get to know more about the person and meet them the next time. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, use this time wisely though. Those first
Hmm.
2 months when you're dating somebody, um, keep in your mind that you're doing this so that you can hopefully find a husband or a wife.
Right.
Now, like that last portion said that I said to make sure you align yourself, and if things aren't aligned the way that you see fit, don't waste your time trying to figure people out.
Yeah.
Or if someone is not giving that reciprocated energy during these
Mm-hmm.
2 months, please don't try to pursue this, or don't try
Mm-hmm.
to uh, argue with them about that time, and you're not giving me enough time and attention. I can't get in contact with you when you call. Like, where are you? Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
No, just move on to the next person. Just quit
Mm-hmm.
wasting your time, because there's somebody out there that's wanting to be in a relationship, and that person is just holding you back if they're not reciprocating that energy. So
Yeah, you should really feel happy. Them good old butterfly feelings, excited. The interaction is mutual. Like this is the fun part, right?
right,
When you're really get to like, oh, this could be something new. Like that's the fun, exciting part, you know.
right, and then also too, make sure you're well prepared. Yourself is prepared for these first 2 months,
Mm-hmm. That's a good
meaning no
point.
trauma, no drama that you're bringing in from
Yep.
past relationships, or try to make sure that you're mentally well before going into this relationship
Mm-hmm.
or dating, so so those issues don't hold you back or prevent you from being the best person that you possibly can be for who you're dating,
Mm-hmm.
because they deserve that part of you. It needs to be mutual. If that person is going to be, like my wife said, excited to see you for these first 2 months, you also need to be excited and
Mm-hmm.
well enough to give this person all your time and attention when it's needed.
Yeah. Yep. That is true. The get to know you fit stage. That's pretty easy, you know. That's like we said, 1 to 2 months. So don't waste time. The next one, the early passion stage. Now, this one is the fun stage where you're really like, okay, I know a little bit more about this person and I like what I see, right? So it's like, oh, give me more. You're passionate. You're fueled to know more about this person and explore and really see where the relationship can go.
Hmm.
Here, things are starting to become more serious and more intense. So you'll want to hang out more, see each other more, talk more. Like, you will really start feeling those good old butterflies, like, this is really bubbling into something new, you know, the excitement from that.
Yep. What, 2 to 6 months? That's when you
Mm-hmm.
start knocking boots. So, so that's what. Yeah, I mean, 2 to 6 months. If you wait longer than that, guys, if you're with a woman, to be honest with you, and she's waiting longer, longer than 6 months to show this type of affection for you, um, you have a conversation about that. See where her mind is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She may be a virgin. I don't know,
Yeah.
and she's just holding out till marriage. Those are things that you need to know in the first months, first
Mm-hmm.
2 months before you all get married, so
Yeah.
that there aren't any expectations or things that you may have, and then you get stonewalled because, oh, I didn't know that the first 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
before this, the early stage is early passion stage. Like I said, make sure that you know what each other's expectations are, and also too what you all plan to do as far as taking the steps further into the early passion stage.
Yeah.
Your relationship should be elevating or
Mm-hmm.
progressing month by month, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, if you're really both um, intentional about each other.
Yeah, so you are in this early passion stage. The next step up from the beginning, get to know you stage is, hey, let's go ahead and do something serious. Make this official, commit to each other. Like, see if we're going to take this a little further to be boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, the beginning serious parts of a relationship. But
Mhm.
that's where the puppy love, the butterflies, all that stuff really starts up because you're excited. It's a new relationship. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then also too in that stage, you like my wife said, deeper intimate feelings
Mm-hmm.
starting to show. You all are more interested in each other every day,
Mm-hmm.
and want to know what each other is doing.
Conversations. I think you are also starting to integrate your lives during this time. So
Mhm.
you'll bring your family around, like definitely within 6 months, you should have met some type of friends, some family, like some deeper parts of this person that you've come to get to know over this time. And really that the separate identity of, oh, hey, this is them and them now becomes us. And then it becomes a we and y'all become a unit, right? So your friends and your family start to recognize, hey,
Right.
y'all are starting to become something, huh?
Right. And for those new lovers out there, those young folk, this is completely normal.
Mm-hmm.
For those people who haven't seen healthy relationships before, this is okay. This is a time between after 2 to 6 months of dealing with someone. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Let those guards down. You don't have to be all hard up because of your past and your environment of where you came from and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Because if you're acting out of those characteristics, then you're not going to enjoy this experience at all like
Yeah.
you should be. And it's going to show.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to push your at this time your boyfriend or girlfriend away. But be more open and be mindful of how they're feeling towards you and then enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing about a relationship. You're supposed to enjoy it, grow it. It's like a plant. You water it
Mm-hmm.
with love and it will grow. And then
Yeah.
you enjoy looking at it and whatever. If it
Mm-hmm.
bear fruits, then you enjoy eating it. So
Yeah.
so by all means,
Yeah.
this is a time where you enjoy what you all currently build together, even though it is a couple of months
Mm-hmm.
um in early in the passion stage of relationship and dating.
Yeah, because it's
So
cool. You, like you said, you move from, you're enjoying the coming from being a separate single identity to now a us and a we, and that's cool to go in because you notice your language starts to change. You maybe start pet names, hey boo, baby, all this other cute stuff. Maybe y'all come up with your own little things. You now, finish each other's sentences. You're blending your lives a lot more together. People's routines and what to expect next, what they're doing next. So that's a nice little early passion stage because you're not quite in love with the person yet, but you can definitely see yourself falling in love with them. So
right.
that's the stage right before the next one, which is the euphoria stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the I guess the nice deep I'm falling in love with you stage, right? Where you're really just loving who this person is.
Right. This is the time where you care more about the person's feelings, their day to day. You want to talk
Mm-hmm.
to this person every day.
Yeah.
You all start planning more.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Yeah.
energy levels are high as far as love goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of studies actually on this stage. That's why they call this the euphoria stage. And studies estimate that this stage can last anywhere between like 6 months to maybe even 2 years because this is such a large, impactful stage where lots of things are changing and adjusting and growing. So in this stage, it takes, some couples go through it really fast, and they're just boom, 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 boom. Some couples are much slower, but you definitely, like my husband mentioned before, want to see a nice progression into like some deeper level things that you're going through. So the euphoria stage, like we said, usually starts with falling in love, right? So this is where you're first falling in love. And like we were talking about, studies have recently shown that why they call it the euphoria stage is because you're getting lots of dopamine during this time. It's kind of like being on a drug. Like you're just so in love. Everything tastes, smells, touches, everything is just amazing. Like, heightened 10 times more than on a regular day when you're not in love.
Mm-hmm.
Or feeling like you're following in love at least. Yeah. Actually, it was one cool study. If we could read this really quick, is a study conducted by Lucy Brown, the clinical professor in neurology, has said that while studying brain activity within people that are falling in love from the beginning early relationships to the very end, and they have actually found that during this early stage many people show a decrease in activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that has to do with negative judgment of people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. So that means that in that stage, not only are you getting boost of happy feelings and hormones and stuff, but you're also less judgmental during that time of year.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you probably don't argue at all. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this is their stage where everything is so positive and upbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is that if you fast forward years later, if you're married, you're gonna remember these times, especially when things don't aren't always so sunny. But
Yeah.
let's remember those times too, because that's what kept you all together and it got you there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the early euphoria stage, it feels like a whole bunch of hormones. It makes you feel like a kid again, kid in the candy store all the time when you see your loved one.
Yeah.
In
Thinking
that
about
early
them all the
stage,
time.
right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
starting off in the beginning. Yeah.
So that is after the 6 months. So that's after
Mhm.
6 months. So that's what happens, especially with the brain chemistry of,
Mhm.
you feel sick when you can't be with this person, or especially if this
Mhm.
person got to go out of town or leave for an extended period of time, you're just so down.
Yeah.
Because you feel like all your good
Mhm.
and happiness is coming from
The
the
spouse,
yep,
yeah.
the person that you're dating.
Mhm.
So that's what's going on here.
Yeah,
So
and the good outweighs the bad here, definitely. So you're
mhm,
more like you don't see no flaws. You don't care what they do. You don't care. They
mhm,
can leave their clothes out. They can leave their dishes out. They can do everything. It don't even matter because you're just like, ah, man, I love this person and this is nice. Like, So that's the ultimate forgiveness stage where you're just willing to forgive anything. And that's
right.
also a time to really be sure not to take advantage of these stages when you're really like, that's always say, make sure you're really intentional because you don't want to be taken advantage of during this time because you could really be vulnerable and be taken advantage of, and somebody's actually toying with your emotions and not feeling the same way you are when you actually, are deep in love, falling in love with the person. So
Right. Well, they say this phase is also involved with the honeymoon phase as
that's
well.
as you move through. Yeah. So
Right.
that's why it's so long, right? So they say from 6 to 2 years. So within that 6 to 2 years time, it's a lot that goes on, a whole lot. So first you're falling in love, and then you probably kick off the conversation with what would it be like if we move in together, right?
Hmm.
So what do you think? Moving in together, how soon could you see?
About 2 years.
We moved in together fast, so we don't count. We moved in together. I think God put us together pretty fast on purpose,
Yeah, but we known each other like
Yeah,
years before we moved
yeah,
in though.
yeah,
So
right,
it wasn't, we didn't
right.
necessarily just move in together.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. But in this case, for I guess when you're first meeting somebody, yeah, like 6 months to a year, when you're probably considering, hey, let's have this conversation of what it'd be like to live together because you're already talking
Right.
all the time, wanting to spend all the time together, right?
Right. Now, like I'm always saying that I'm for the men to allow the woman to move in with you.
Definitely, yeah.
So that what that means, guys, is that you all need to be paying the bills. As far as the mortgage or rent, you already
Mhm.
living there. Your name is on that mortgage or the rent, so you should
Yeah,
be paying those bills.
yeah,
So
yeah.
don't none of
Honestly,
that half. You pay your half and I pay. Nah, don't do that. Don't do
mm-hmm.
that because that means that she has half to say of what goes on in your place.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
And women, you established right off back early that kind of that position of I'm you taking me in as your wife,
Right.
because you're coming into his establishment and then creating it as to be something of your own. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is also a good time where you need to be having deep conversations about what it will look like living with this person, right? So, what do you expect? Cleanliness, the chores, the general upkeep. Who's welcome there? Who's not welcome there? What times y'all want to go to, have low music or whatever. If one person's staying up, the next person's not, whatever. However, you're trying to work out your living situations, make sure you have these conversations in this time before you have gotten married, before you have moved in. Just definitely take the time to talk about what this will look like and whether or not, we're going to move forward with this based off of how I expect our living arrangements to look, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Another one too is that if you are afraid during this time to talk about what living arrangements would look like or any deeper involvement in conversations like that, then there might be something going on to where you're not ready to take the next step in the relationship, or maybe the relationship isn't progressing along like you thought it was. Because if you are afraid to have these conversations, or if you're not having these conversations about, hey, let's move in together, let's do this, let's get engaged, let's, making future plans together, then someone is stagnant and not ready to take that next step. And then the whole thing needs to be reevaluated before somebody's feelings get hurt.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true.
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, you had mentioned the honeymoon phase. So that is also, this is pretty much a long stage, like we were saying. That is also involved in this one as well. Because you should, after you have moved in together, you should have gotten married, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least during this time, within 6 months to 2 years, we're saying. So 6 months to 2 years, you falling in love, moving in together, and then definitely consider putting a ring on somebody's finger. What are y'all doing? Y'all taking the next step. Don't have kids and stuff during this stage. I don't recommend that at all, because it's still a early get to know you stage, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. So you want to make sure that I mean, by all means, talk about having children, but
Mm-hmm.
don't put the cart in front of the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you all are committed, get married, whatever marriage tradition you all have, and also you know just enjoy each other, but
Yeah.
also too, like my wife said, set you all's intentions up
Mm-hmm.
as far as what you all both want out of this relationship and expect, especially day-to-day things
Yeah.
that may go on in your household.
Mm-hmm.
So just be mindful of that and make sure that you all set those standards
Mm-hmm.
for each other.
Yeah.
Um, Although that is going to be difficult with all the dopamine and love that's going on within your head. So just be mindful of that. That is something that you do need to take care of and do.
Yeah. And during the euphoria stage, don't be afraid to go in and do that. Like, really take the time to do that, because if you don't, that problem's going to creep up sooner or later anyway. And you're not doing your relationship any justice by not addressing those situations at all.
Right.
So, still on the euphoria phase. Now, again, like I said, this phase could last a really long time. It really depends on the couple. Some people progress through it really fast, and boom, 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 they're married and they've had their honeymoon phase. So now we're into the ending of the euphoria phase, and you've hit your honeymoon, and so you have your high. You're still probably coming off of your high from the honeymoon or whatever you've done, within these 2 years together. And now you kind of progress into getting, to the normal day-to-day feeling. So the hormones are dropping. It's not so much euphoria feeling all the time. And that's when you'll kind of know you're moving to the next stage of a relationship, the fourth stage. Now, also, to this, the ups and downs of the relationship through this euphoria phase will really determine on whether or not you're going to move to the next phase. So some, they may get married and then they still don't make it to the next phase, because as those, happy feelings die down, it's still very important to keep that love alive. So doing the things that you like with each other, making sure to connect with each other, have sex, bond with each other, making sure to do those things so that that love doesn't die too soon. Yep.
Yep.
But as we move on, so for the general population, as you move on through love, you go to the next one, which is the attachment stage.
Yep. Most definitely. This is where what it says. Studies have shown that the region of the brain linked with feelings of attachment and the attachment hormones, uh, vasopressin and oxytocin,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes referred to as the love hormone, begins to take over here. So
Mm-hmm.
even more love hormones kick in,
Mm-hmm.
and this occurs well after 1 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So so I mean, even though the honeymoon phase is over, those connections that you're getting, those brain chemicals and those brain waves,
Turn to something else.
yep,
Yeah.
they turn into something else.
A deeper one, an
Right.
attachment one where you actually are now forming a deeper
Bond.
bond.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So that's cool.
All right. Um, you can sleep. Wow, you can sleep.
Oh yeah, because it lasts anywhere from 1 to 5 years. Go ahead.
Yep. So when you've reached this early attachment stage, when you can sleep, you're not thinking about your lover 24 hours a day. So
Mm-hmm.
you having more relaxed. You're more relaxed now. So you're able to do your own day-to-day stuff without thinking about who you're with all day.
Mm-hmm.
So you pass all that honeymoon stuff and
Yeah.
you're looking towards almost normal life
Mm-hmm.
again, but this time with someone who you love deeply.
Mm-hmm. Who you're going through life with. Yep.
Yep. Love is deeper in this stage. Your situation with you and your spouse is great. So this is a great beginning. It's like another beginning of the relationship, like the real beginning of what day to day looks like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, by the time you may have had some kids, things you really have formed, you start to form deep memories with each other where your memories start to merge together. So you remember a lot of things together, and that's the cool thing about this stage. Also, it's important to note that, again, it can overlap, it can go pretty fast. So you have 1 to 5 years to where you're really building this bond. And again, it could go rapid fast, especially if you go through a lot of life together. So within that time span, if a lot of different things happen for you guys, then yeah, your bond can really deepen.
right. So by this time, like my wife said, you all should be married.
Yeah.
Anywhere between 1 to 5 years, you all should be well established, well living together, married, possibly, like my wife said, possibly have children within 5 years of your relationship, your marriage.
Yeah, and if you haven't, then oof.
Right, and things are good. So around this time, I'd say 1 to 5 years, possibly 2 to 5, you need to really seriously think about teamwork in your relationship to getting more money. So work on elevating each other. You hear what I said? Work on elevating each other so that both of you all can make more money.
Yeah,
for your
especially
family.
for homogamous relationships. Yeah.
Yeah,
the hypergamous, maybe not so much because the guy should be fully established.
right. And then same thing for
Hypogamous. Yeah.
relationship.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, hypogamous relationships.
Yeah.
So you're dating down. So that's men.
Right.
So men
or women.
But it all depends on what the financial situation is. If you all both know that you all that combined incomes together is not a 2-person income, then you all need to strategize and figure out how to make that happen. And 2-person income now in this day and age is pretty much 6 figures.
Yeah.
So try to figure out those things, work together and do your best, because I'm telling you, life will be so much better not living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep. It is. It's so much better. So if you can, like you said, just focus on that, goals together, those shared common goals. That would really help too. If you're having trouble establishing roles or whatever within your relationship, then now is really a good time to figure out, okay, we're in it, we're together. What is our life going to look like here on out?
And then you all need to be seriously communicating in this stage, the attachment stage.
Yeah.
Seriously communicate about how you all are feeling. When somebody needs to do more to help out, men and women, talk to your spouse, and say, hey, I need more help with the kids in the afternoon when you come home from work. I need more help on the weekends. I need more rest.
Yeah.
Men, women, husband, wife, help each other during this time. And then you don't have to be approachable in the situation, open-minded, and kind to each other when talking about these things, because what you want to do is build a great foundation of communication outside of just that butterfly love type stuff, because around this time it's pretty much dying down, and you all are pretty much setting your ways and setting how the pace of the relationship, and like my wife said, the roles of the relationship and how things are supposed to proceed moving forward, especially now that you all have children. If you all have children in this stage, they're very young. Understand that this relationship is no longer about you and your spouse. Things have changed dramatically, especially having a newborn baby. You're not going to be able to sleep through the night. You're not. Both of you may have to attend to the baby, feed the baby, change the baby's diapers, and realize this too. This is another jewel that I'm gonna drop on you all, especially those young lovers out there. If you have a child, expect sleepless nights for the next 6 years.
Right.
5
per
to 6
child.
years per child. So if you have stair steps, then that will multiply. So
back to back to back.
Yep, exactly. So you won't have, if you have 3 of them like we do, so that'll be 5, 10, 15. Well, it depends
Yeah.
on how old they are.
Well, yeah, our 2-year-old.
Yeah,
So right.
the space between
Mhm.
between them. But it's, they say it's 5 years until you can start sleeping in.
Yep. So when our 2-year-old is 5, hopefully we can start getting some more sleep.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, like my husband was saying, this is the good time to really establish how your relationship is going to be, how you're going to communicate. You really start to know each other too, like your habits, how to talk to each other. By this time, you should know your love languages, what works, what doesn't work. And if you don't, this is really the time to figure this stuff out and make sure that you are, doing the work that needs to be done. Also, too, if you don't see this progression, if you have not gotten some type of ring, proposal, moved in together, established, like I really say you need to be married, 5 years is the mark. If that has not occurred within that time, whoa.
2 years is for me.
Yeah,
If you all
I
not married
agree.
in 2 years or had some sort of serious conversation, maybe you're doing a common law marriage or something. And if it's not looking like a common law marriage, you know what I mean? Somebody's always going out still on the weekends, partying, drunk all over the place.
Yeah, not committed.
Not committed at all. Promiscuous, infidelity is going on. Quit.
Not giving you the same energy.
Try something else. Try someone else.
Don't waste that time. Yeah. Ooh, gracious. Yeah. Don't know your worth to not want to waste your time. Like, it is not doing anybody justice, and it's certainly not doing you any justice by putting too much energy in somebody who's not giving you that energy.
Right.
Back,
because what are you all waiting for?
Right.
A wedding?
Right.
No, seriously, a wedding. That's
Right.
what a lot of women wait on. And then also too, in this society, you need to have realistic expectations. Nobody has $30,000, $100,000 for a wedding when you all got $60,000 worth of college loan debt.
Yeah.
And all these other debts and things like that. And then, you see the man, he said, well, we can't get married yet because I can't afford a wedding. Because the women creates that unrealistic expectation. Women, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Don't get married because of a wedding. There's other ways to get married. Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. And I would even say men too, like, make sure that you're even prepared to get married before you even go down this list
go this
of
far.
Stuff, these stages. Yeah.
But
don't get involved in this. You're too far along at this time in this stage for you not to have some type of financial stability where, okay, we may not be able to get this big wedding, but we can at least put down payment on a house, or do whatever we can do, build our credit up together, whatever it is. Make sure that you're taking some steps to actively work on your finances together and combine, whatever lifestyles, all that together.
Right. In this stage, you should know each other's credit scores.
Oh, yes, for sure. You should have definitely known that.
And health history, all of that stuff.
Yep.
This is the type of stuff that you should already know within 1 to 5 years of being together in this committed relationship. But I say it again, if there's no commitment in this relationship in 1 to 5 years, then why are you all together?
Yeah, that's a waste. That is a complete
that happens a lot. Women wait on men to get married 1 to 5 years. Men still aren't married in 1 to 5 years.
Yeah, that is fear too. A lot of that is fear too, I think.
Yeah.
Some part of the guy's like, oh, I'm just not ready. Well, if you're not ready, you shouldn't even be in a relationship, period.
Right, yeah, especially if it's 1 to 5 years, because what it looks like is that you're gaming the person that you're trying to play games with the person that you're dating with.
Yeah, being stagnant. Yeah.
But also, women, don't be a fool for these types of relationships. Recognize and be real with yourself that if that man hasn't made a commitment to you within 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and you're already dating and talking to that person, then you may need to move on to someone else.
Yeah.
I know it may be hard or whatever the case may be, but in the long run, you're going to not waste your time dealing with somebody like this. Now, that if this happens to you again, then it may be your fault because you may be missing all the red flags and you may be picking wrong. That is a thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times women pick wrong.
Yeah.
They picking the wrong people, and they pick the same type of person all
Mhm.
over because they're attracted to the same
Yeah.
attitude and all this other stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Mhm.
If a person hasn't shown any signs of commitment with you in 1 to 5 years, move on.
Yep. The euphoria stage within
Right.
itself was 2 years. So if you haven't built up some type of euphoria feeling to where you're like, I gotta take this next step with this person, man and female, like, come
Right.
on, you're just playing games at that
Right.
point.
And women, be mindful too that men chooses marriage. Men
Mhm.
choose marriage.
And they know within a couple of, I would say no more than a year, they know whether or not you're worthy of them wanting to
Marrying.
marry you.
Right, exactly. We do. But you just need
Mhm.
women just need to know when they're being gamed and understand uh, when it's okay to exit.
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, certainly.
because it's better for you to exit before you get married than trying to exit while you're married.
Right.
So while you're married, if you're trying to exit, you need to first try to fix it.
Yeah.
Try to fix your marriage and do everything you can. But
Right. Or even moving in, because we said the euphoria stage, you should have moved in together, like have established some of that. So don't even move in with the person if you have not established, like, okay, we're committed, we're doing this, and this is what we're doing. Even if it's not, like, y'all don't believe in marriage, some people don't believe in the legal paper institutional marriage, whatever, that's fine. If, like my husband said, common law, make sure you guys have established that this is what we're doing.
right, common law to me is when once that woman moves into your house.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's when that takes place.
Mhm.
So if you're living together, you're married.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I say that the men need to invite the woman into your home, because the man is choosing the relationship.
Yeah, establishing
It's
it early.
establishing the marriage.
Mhm.
So men
Mhm.
don't live with the woman.
Mm-mm.
Don't move in with the woman.
Mhm.
And
women don't move him in with you. No,
Right.
because you already starting the whole thing off unbalanced. Who cares
Right.
if you got your spot first? No. If y'all are gonna do that, y'all work on his credit together, like help him build his credit up. And that's okay too, to work together, especially if you're doing the homogamous relationship. If y'all notice he's not at one point, but he's ready to take that step with you and get there, then help him get into that space so that you guys can then take that next step in a way that will show progression of how you want your lives to be in the future. Don't set him up to be the one that's not bringing in a good amount of money and you bringing in all the money from the beginning if that's not what you want in the long term. It's not smart. It's not going to work out that way. Align it early so that, hey, I want you to be the breadwinner. Let's figure this out. How are we going to make this work? What do we need to do? What's your credit look like? Is it need some help? Like, how can we figure this out? Work together during that time, especially do that before you've reached the attachment stage, which is 1 to 5 years at minimum.
Right.
Yeah. But we say 2 years max for the euphoria. It will range. But anyways, so as we progress through the attachment stage, so you have established attachment, you've gone through some great things, some ups and downs together. Here comes the nitty gritty of the relationship and whether or not it's going to survive. And this is the crisis stage. Every relationship has its crisis stage, right? So now this stage occurs anywhere between 5 years to 7 years. So you're married, you've moved in together, you've already gotten a good familiarity with each other, and then something happens that makes you kind of have to adjust in a major way, whether that's kids, maybe a loss of job, maybe a loss of parent or family, who knows? Life can happen. So this stage in particular, though, is the hardest stage where every relationship will go through, like, you'll drift. Something will happen and it will cause you to drift. And it's really about, in this point, are you going to drift back together or are you going to continually drift further and further apart? So this is the make it or break it stage. Commonly called, I think they'd say, like, oh, if you make it to like the 5-year itch or the 7-year itch, it's kind of the old slang about it. Because if you reach this time and you can make it, then you're good. But this is the crisis, make it, break it stage.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. And then especially this is when if you've been hiding any like childhood traumas or anything like that, this is probably where they're going to show. Because you revert to those type of characteristics when things get hard or rough. So you may need therapy through this
Mm-hmm.
time. You may need to get some good healthy therapy or mentorship on
Mm-hmm.
how to remediate or resolve your issues in this
Yeah.
relationship or marriage. You need to seek help
Mhm.
and communicate with your partner in a respectful manner
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to resolve the situation or what you're going through. A
Yeah.
lot of times for men around this time, especially in a homogamous relationship or young relationship where both couples are probably in their early and mid 20s and they don't have a lot of finances together, they may argue over finances and not having
Mm-hmm.
enough money.
Yeah.
This is where, like my wife said, all those euphoric feelings have gone away, and
Mm-hmm.
then you realize that, hey, we're in this relationship together. All the honeymoon feelings are gone. I don't feel the
Mm-hmm.
same way that I used to.
Yeah.
And
Scientifically, like
right,
that's shows scientifically, not to cut you off, but that's science.
right,
Seriously.
it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to happen. The honeymoon phase, on like we said, only lasts about 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the euphoric stage that lasts about another year or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may
Yeah, the
be.
attachment
The
stage. Yeah.
attachment stage,
Yeah, up until those 5 years. So you have
right,
like your 2 years, and you hit your 5 year point where we're talking about now your crisis stage.
right.
So
So that's after the 5 years.
yeah, all those
5 to 7
feelings is
years.
gone. Yep.
All of that is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking that, oh, I'm not feeling this relationship no more. It's
Mm-hmm.
over. It's
Yeah.
not over. It's not over.
Yeah.
You're in this committed relationship.
Yeah.
Now, what we said in the beginning of our journey with Blueprint Family Jewels is that number one, the divorce rates. Divorce rates in America are pretty much around 50-50 as far as marriages go.
Mm-hmm.
And then women initiate divorce at 80%. And what we're trying to do here is keep that number down. Stop getting
Bring it
having
down. Yeah.
women to um, file for divorce.
Because they don't know what else to do.
Right. And then
Irreconcilable differences.
the number one reason why people get a divorce is not infidelity, is not finances, it's irreconcilable differences.
That crisis. What's
This
that
is
crisis,
right.
right?
What is that crisis that you're going through? Oh, because I don't feel the butterflies anymore. The thrill
Mm-hmm.
of the chase is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That stupid stuff
Yeah.
that I've heard about before. The thrill of the chase. No, that's childish.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're an adult in this relationship.
Yeah.
Do your part to keep this relationship or this marriage going. By this time, in 5 to 7 years of dealing with somebody, you're married. You're
Mm-hmm.
married in this committed relationship.
Yeah.
Don't quit on it. Keep it going.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
it
actually
going.
the way to, you have to grow. If that's the only solution during this part, is that usually this crisis is trying to initiate some type of change, some type of growth, whether that's one of you or both of you, or whatever the case is, but somewhere there needs to be some type of growth, and that's only going to be established through good communication, talking about it, figuring it out, and saying, hey, we're still in this. What are we going to do? Don't continue to drift apart. This is that time. You'll either drift apart, try to go in your head and handle it on your own. Think, oh, I don't need to talk to my spouse. Or like my husband saying, those feelings of like where the blinders are kind of on, where you can forgive just anything, and them leaving their dishes in the sink don't bother you. Well, now it starts to bother you. Try to think back to those times where, this used to not really bother me as much too much. Maybe I'm a little, freaking out a bit, but that crisis stage, you really just have to sit back, analyze, and figure out and evaluate, what can I do during this time to help contribute to this growth? And how can we mitigate this crisis so that we don't drift further apart, but instead drift closer together? So,
right.
yeah.
To the listeners out there, if you all have any questions,
Yeah.
by all means, please chime in.
Yeah.
And we'll be more than glad to address those.
Yep.
So thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, right now we're on the crisis stage, right? So we've gone through all of our stages: the get to know you stage, the euphoria stage. Well, before that, it's actually the early passion stage. Then the euphoria stage, the attachment stage, the crisis stage. And this is where we're at right now, where you're actually working on things, trying to work through the marriage. In this time, in particular, it's good to reach out to help. You mentioned that a little bit before, but like therapists or other couples who have gone through things, your family members, close friends. Wifeconomics.com, schedule consultation with us. We're happy to work through any issues that you may be looking to find a solution with and maybe needing some help towards that. We're really focused on keeping families together and working towards solution-minded, positive interventions and different skills and tactics that we can use when we're troubleshooting different relationship issues. Because, we all kind of go through our things, right? So sometimes we need some help. Don't think that you're in this alone. Literally, this is inherent stages that all relationships go through. We all have had that crisis stage that you just have to work and get through and be patient and loving with each other. And
right. But just hope that you're in the crisis stage and you're in a committed relationship.
Yeah. Don't be in the crisis and you ain't committed.
Right.
That's that struggle love that we talked about.
Yeah, that's worse. It's worse.
That's not. Don't confuse the two. It's not the same. If you in a struggle love, you're not committed. You're not together. You struggling to even figure out what the heck is going on. That is not a crisis.
Realistically, you are a side chick or a side dude.
Right.
And that's what that relationship is just pretty much about.
Yeah.
But like I said, you should be married within 2 years already.
Or at least with the ring on your finger. Actively engaged to be married. Like,
well, then, if you're engaged in 2 years, then you need to be married in 3.
Yeah, officially, at least. Yeah, officially. Don't waste your time doing that stuff, because then you want to be able to go through your phases of your relationships. You don't want to be knowing this person for all this time, and then you hit your crisis, and it's the real nitty gritty coming up, and you're just like, dang, I've been with this person too long, and we still going through this stuff.
Well, then that's when that person needs to realize to leave there.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a crisis situation and at 5 to 7 years of being with somebody and there's no commitment in that relationship, leave. It's over. Yeah. It's over. Yeah. What are you holding on for? And this person's not holding on to you.
Yeah, because chances are then you're looking at things like a struggle where it's the uncommitted, or you got the infidelities, or you got all these things where these is perpetual problems within the relationship that you don't see the growth. This is why we say you have to make sure that you're seeing the continuous progression. There's got to be a level up each time you go, every month, every couple months, every year. Like, don't look back and see where your relationship was.
Right. And I know for guys, a lot of guys don't like to quit in these relationships at this time because they feel like they invested, 1, a lot of time, and 2, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Into this woman. Mm-hmm. And then they just want her to act right. That's what it is. I just want her to act right and be my wife. You can't do that. You can't make somebody be your wife. Mm-hmm. Those characteristics are what the woman chooses to be.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. And those rules should have been established.
Right. But often at times, if these people aren't married at 5 to 7 years, that's the reason why for men is that they're holding on because they invested time and money into this relationship and they want their ROI, the return on their investment.
Right.
For this woman to commit and be there, be their wife. But men, if you are going through that, please, by all means, you need to leave. You need to gather your courage, your manhood, pick that up off the floor, get yourself together, and find your exit strategy.
Yeah. And ladies too, like, if you recognize that you're in this relationship and the man hasn't stepped up in the way to provide for you as a husband, to protect you as a husband, if he's not doing these things that you all have talked about and established in the very, very beginning, get to know you, passionate stage, where you're establishing, this is what I want my husband to do. This is what I want our lives to look like. If you notice these things aren't happening, then you're not even at the crisis stage yet. You're just haven't even figured things out along the line yet. And that's a big issue because you're wasting your time at that point.
Right.
You really are. Yeah.
Because at this time of 5 to 7 years, a woman like that they have their emotions invested into this relationship and they love that man deeply.
Yeah.
And men, you have to be mindful of that. That this woman has invested all her time into you and she's really there for you. Mm-hmm. And wants to be your wife. Yeah. So if there's things that you all need to figure out what y'all doing. That's the bottom line. Don't waste each other's time. That's one of the worst things you can do is waste somebody's time because you can't get that back. Nope. Money is one thing, but time is another. Nope. You're not going to be able to get that time back.
No, yeah. And another point about this crisis stage, like we said, this will make or break the relationship. So usually couples don't make it past the 5 to 7 years. It's usually the studies have shown 5 to 7 years is this hot spot where you just like, okay. But in that time, please, please, please be sure to really talk about things. If you have established your connection, if you have kids involved
Mm-hmm.
here, if you have all these different outliers of jobs and, world environment things just going on, make sure you're having these conversations. Don't let yourself go through this crisis stage alone. Go through it with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen, so go through it with your spouse. Let them know, honey, this is something that's going on right now. I'm having a hard time. What do you think we should do? Sit down together and have a plan. Figure it out. We're saying, hey, this is what's going on. The economy's bad. This is happening. This is happening. This is, all these things are coming. What can we do together? Right? Always think in terms of a team, and y'all are coming together, attacking the problem together, not one or another being the problem within itself.
Right. Or either like other situations. For men, you've probably been holding or biting your tongue about things in the relationship that you probably want your wife to do. Or either, you know,
hormones. That's big.
Yeah, you don't understand why, this probably may for some men, this may be your first relationship, and you don't understand your wife's cycle, her period, and mood swings, and all that stuff. This is a good time to talk about it and learn about it, and understand that this is something that periodically just happens. And then that is a time that you all need to understand each other. And women, be mindful of the mood swings. Men, be mindful that she needs help, and to provide some assistance around the house around these times of the month.
Yeah, especially if a baby's involved and the man's tired too.
Right. So yeah, you both are tired. I get it. Just be kind and take things slow, kind and slow, and understand. I mean, it does wear on a relationship when you both have a new baby, and then you all are going through your ups and downs in this crisis situation. It wears you out.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah, that's what they say. Marriage, babies can make or break a marriage too. Because oftentimes, what you see, maybe you get into a marriage and you're not right away having kids, but then y'all hit that 5-year mark, y'all decide to have kids, and then boom, y'all have kids, and it just it tanks because y'all can't figure out quite that crisis stage, because that is your crisis, something like this.
So I'm trying to think of other crises. Infidelity. So one reason why infidelities may happen, especially with men, is because you're not having sex on the same schedule that you all used to. You all have more responsibilities now. You're knee deep in marriage or in this relationship, and you're feeling like you're not getting sex when you want it. It's going to happen, guys. You all have, this relationship is no longer about you or your wife. Now you have children. So just be understanding about that, and get it in when you can. This is what it is. You all going to have sex whenever you can. Things change. So it's not about you or your urges or you needing sex or whatever the case may be. It's not about that anymore. So just be mindful and understanding about that. But also to just communicate about sex and how important it is for your relationship. Find time to do it and find fun things to do during sex. Make it interesting and do some new things, and then that'll keep you interested in the relationship in that 5 to 7 year crisis period.
Rekindling.
Right, because sex is a therapeutic thing, and it's healthy for relationships.
It is.
Don't be in a sexless marriage. You're hearing about that now, that younger couples are in sexless marriages and all that stuff because they've gotten to marriage so quickly and they skip steps in the relationship process and hurry up and got married, and they're struggling, financially and all this other stuff, and they're not happy. Take things, take these years slow. I mean, I know time goes by fast, but be strategic about your relationship. Be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah, and take the time to rekindle. I love that you mentioned that, using sex as a way to rekindle, because that's important. You need during this time to go back to those things that you used during that honeymoon phase, during that passionate phase, even that get to know you phase, the things that sparked your love and affection for each other and helped you remember, this is why I like you. This is why I love you. And this is why I wanted to go through life with you, because that will help you say, okay, we are going through this right now, but we're going to get through it, because that ultimately will push you into the next beautiful stage, which is the deep attachment stage. This stage comes after you've gone through that crisis and you've made it back up that hill. And now you're at the top where you have started to really, really build a deep attachment, a deep bond, 7+ years down the line, right? So we're talking 7+. You've made it. They call this the home stretch. Hopefully. Yeah. So your deep attachment is the calm after the storm, right? So all of the things that you have gone through have accumulated into this great thing to where now you know how to work together, right? You've had those conversations of what works, what doesn't work, what you want things to look like, what you don't want things to look like, right? You have been patient with each other. You have more of a deeper understanding for each other. So your attachment is so deep and so loving, and it's different than the early, I guess the early attachment of this is new, I love this. It's now more of like, this is comfortable, I'm used to this, I know this, I'm familiar with this, and I'm ready to sustain this.
Right. I think after this, in this stage, this is when people start to grow more individually within the relationship
Yeah.
together, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to mature more in the
Yeah.
relationship. Your children are older
Mm-hmm.
now, after 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You all both know each other's day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
activities and things like that.
Yeah.
So you all strategize and plan together on
Mm-hmm.
a daily basis, weekly basis, or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may be. So the focus and the dynamic of the relationship really does change.
Yeah.
It's more family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And you all, like my wife said, are more comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
You're more calm in the relationship and more comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with each other.
Yeah.
So,
And I think you get through that, what is it, the throwing the divorce word around, right? So you kind of get through that phase of, all right, we can't keep throwing this divorce word around, we ain't going nowhere type thing.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
we're
you're
here,
locked
we're
in.
in it.
You're
Yeah, we're
locked
in
in at
it.
this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, so that's not even something that you're really even thinking about, and it's more so, okay, how can we work together to keep this in for the long run? And then truth be told, honestly, we're 10 years in and we're over here thinking more so about, okay, what does it look like in old age? Like, like we're already here to this point where we're like, okay, fast forward, what we look like when we're old, like you're thinking more in the future, and like, okay, it's the stability of, this is where we're at, we know we're gonna be here, and let's do all we can do to make this look nice for us in the end, pretty
Right.
much.
I'll say at the 7+, like you said, now if you want to focus on something, retirement, focus on retirement, alongside of raising the children. And if you want them to go to college, by all means, start saving for college plans for them.
Yeah.
They have tax-free college plans that are out there.
Yeah.
And look into those, and get more serious about retirement, because you want to protect your loved ones in the later part of your life, because things are changing, economically and around you, environmentally changing.
Yep, they
as
are.
well.
They are, and you got to be aware and prepared. And the cool thing is now, you're going through this with somebody, right? So now you're thinking, okay, at least check mark, I don't have to go through this alone. Now let's get these check marks checked out so that we can hurry up and get everything in order so that we can go through life together, in the end, and be whole and satisfied and happy. So
Right. Yeah. So we basically mapped it out. We mapped out relationships and pretty much how much time it needs to take for each stage. Now, I said that if you're dealing with somebody 2 years, you need to be married with this person. The man needs to decide to choose to marry you or not. So
stop wasting time.
Yep. So don't waste time. So after review, number one, the get to know you stage. That is the first to 2 months
Mm-hmm. 1 to 2 months.
situation. Number two, the early stage,
The early
which is,
passion stage.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, the early passion stage is 2 to 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
where you all are having sex and close to each other and
Yeah, becoming a
making out
we.
and all that stuff. Right. You're doing more of we and us type things, learning about each other's families and meeting them and all that stuff. 2 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The euphoria stage, which is anywhere from 6 months to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another a level of
Heightened intensity. Yeah.
right, heightened intensity, dealing with chemistry, brain chemistry, and love for one another.
Yep, falling in love. That's your falling in love phase. Well, it's kind of all you talking about these 2 years. So you're falling in love, you're moving
The
in
honeymoon
together.
phase.
Yeah, you're getting married. You're getting engaged. You're getting married. You're doing all these things within that time. It's check, 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 check.
Right.
And if you haven't seen your relationship
Progress
progress,
by 2
there
years.
is an issue.
Yep,
Yeah,
there's
you
an
need
issue.
to be having these conversations, ladies. If you're interested in figuring out, all right, how can I take it from this passionate stage? We're passionate about each other. I feel like I'm falling in love with you. I'm ready to go to the next stage. How do I initiate this conversation? Well, let's talk about what living together might look like. Like, have you ever thought about living with me? Like, would you like to wake up next to me? What would that look like? How would you like things to go in the morning? How would you like to go to sleep with me at night? Put those little birdies in his ear. How would you like it if we did such and such together because we live together type thing? Like, have those conversations where you're getting him to visualize his life with you in it. And especially when you got them good old feel good hormones, helping you out during this time. So really be taking advantage of those times and helping him to see a life further with you when his brain is even helping him to see it too. So
right. So women, ask your boyfriend, do you intend on marrying me within those 2 years after what it
shoot, I say 6 months. That 6 months when
right,
we
well,
hit
6 months to 2 years.
yeah, after that early
question
passion. Yep, that early passion stage. Yep.
that question needs to have been dropped in between that 6 to 2 years.
What's up? What we doing?
And then if he says yes, then you need to ask him
when we doing this?
well, no, not when, but what is it going what is it going to take for you to put a ring on my finger? And then see what that answer is, because that next answer will let you know whether or not you should be in this relationship for the long haul or not.
Yeah, if there's a plan, if he says it's this, and this, then you follow up with, okay, then baby, we can do this, and this. This is how we can get this
right
done.
Because this is the jewel that I'm dropping for the women, is that you got play those 6 to 2 years to your advantage.
6 months.
6 months to 2 years to your advantage, women. If you want to force the issue for the man to marry you, by asking those two questions, because if you invested time into this man and you all have gotten to that early passion stage and into the euphoria stage, he's going to be sick if you leave him on that cusp of 2 years. Trust me, especially if he really loves you, he's going to be feeling sick.
Yeah.
Without you.
And don't be afraid to show him what you're willing to do. Invest in him in those times, in the sense of, if he says, hey, I want to get married, but I need to have this, and this in line. Maybe one of them is like he wants to have a house. One of them, he wants to have a good job. Well, baby, I can help you write some resumes. I went to college and I'm good at this, so let's write some resumes on this one. Hey, baby,
show your worth.
I'm good at accounting. Like, let's do our
women got to show you worth.
Yeah, let's fix your credit score up and stuff like that. All of this is going to be ringing in his mind during this time where he has these feel good hormones, and he's seeing you alongside, working with him, showing him you're a helpmate, showing him you're ready to be a wife to him, showing him, okay, I can get on your team. I can get on your program and help you to get on kind of my program of what I want in a husband, right? So if you want him to provide, help him establish himself to provide. If you're looking for a homogamous relationship, marrying your equal. Hypergamous women, if you're looking to marry up and you want him already established, then yeah, come right on in and be like, I cook, I clean, I do this, wifeconomics.com. We lay out the full day-to-day thought patterns and belief systems and behavior patterns that a man is looking for in his wife. No man can really tell you how to do this, but a woman that's actually doing this, communicating, living working with the man, understanding a man every single day can help you align yourself to the thoughts of what a man wants in his wife. And that's something that you're going to have down packed to show him within these 2 years in order to really get him to be like, all right, this is it. She's shown me, I'm ready to
Right.
go.
Because a good man doesn't have a defense for a good woman or good wife, rather.
Nope.
A
Not
good
even the
husband
hardest
doesn't have
man.
a good
Nope.
defense for a good wife.
Nope. Even Superman, what was his kryptonite? Was
His weakness was
the minus the rock. Yeah, minus that little rock that
And then let's summarize.
Yeah. After that, okay, so you have the
euphoria
phase
stage.
the attachment stage, right? So that's
euphoria 6 months to 2 years. I'm sorry, I just wanted to put that up there.
Yep, and the attachment stage, 1 year to 5 years, right? So this is a time where you're building your attachment, growing deeper with each other. Yeah,
right. And then the crisis stage will happen at 5 to 7 years, maybe more or less, depending on. But expect
usually average 5 to 7
expect
years,
challenges that strengthen your relationship. So that's all that is. So don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
And then 6, the deep attachment stage, which is 7+ years.
Yeah.
Where you all know you all are not going to go anywhere, and you all are in it for the long haul.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have any more crises, but that does mean that you're better equipped to handle those crises. And you're ready to go and ready to tackle out what life has to offer, because over these years you've built up a big old book of things that you can pull out. Well, this works and this works and this works and this works, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna try this and we're gonna try that.
You have a reference point. At this time you have a reference point.
Yep.
And then you can turn that knowledge into active wisdom.
Yep.
All right. Well, Blueprint family, thank you all for coming out tonight. Followers, thank you. And go ahead and share this video to someone who needs to hear it. We just mapped out the timelines for marriage, the stages of successful relationship progression. So we really appreciate you all. Share, like, subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Peace. Take care. It's eggs on that.
A question.
She's not up there anymore.
You want to answer it?
It's not up there anymore.
She's not up there? Or the question? We'll answer it the next night. So what stage would be on and off? What stage would be on and off? I'm not sure what that is.
Like the on and off stage where that's not really a stage of a relationship. That is, I don't know if they can hear, but that's not even the stage of the relationship. That's the crisis. But that's actually a great point. We can pull this up for next week because we actually missed this.
Okay. But yeah, we'll answer that question for you next week, because I have an answer for
tomorrow.
That.
Next week, sorry. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. What stage will be on and off? I'll answer that for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So Gabrielle Harris, we are going to make note of this for sure.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
All right.